limit your exposure to it, it will start to help. It may take time, and to learn how to not fall in love with the wrong women or not be attracted to the wrong kind of friends or wrong habits in life, it's going to take a long time. This is a skill, like I said, and a skill takes time to learn. Hey guys, Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Today I want to talk about how to not fall in love. This might seem disappointing, a little bit cynical, but it is a necessary skill, and it is a skill, and I'll explain how to develop that skill, because you're going to be dating hopefully a fair amount of women to get to a point where you meet a girl who fits exactly what you want and makes you feel the way that you want to feel and fits your standards. And that requires you to go on dates with women and to screen them out and to sometimes even have sex with them and have a short kind of relationship and start it off casually to see where things are going to go, because you don't truly understand who they are until you started to sleep with them and see the real them. While you're dating these women, you are going to encounter some who, on first impression, you thought they were very beautiful, they're very sexy, you enjoy spending time with them, you enjoy sleeping with them, but then as they reveal more of their personality or their past, or you see some of their habits and behaviors, you begin to not see them as a long-term potential partner. And you should have high standards, and you should be screening girls out if they're not going to fit your long-term goals. Because if you get a girlfriend, or you want her to be your girlfriend, I think that it's very important to consider the possibility that she might be your wife in the future, or the mother of your children. So keeping that long-term mindset in mind, you're gonna find women who, upon finding their true self or more true self through time spent with them, you don't want to be with them, or they're not good for you. And that is where the trouble lies. You actually do want to be with them, but you know you shouldn't. Women have the same experience. They have a guy they're very attracted to, maybe they even like sleeping with him, but they know that he's not good for them. And this is very alluring because it is like candy or chocolate. You know that having too much of it is not good for you, but you can't stop eating it. And so women have their guards up and they call men fuckboys, or he's toxic, or he's an asshole, he's not texting me back, etc. You've heard of these stories. Or maybe you've been the guy that they have told that story about. Well, there's going to be women who are going to be toxic. And you're going to need to learn how to not fall in love with them, but maybe you still want to keep sleeping with them because, you know, they're very sexy, they're very hot, and you want to keep them as a casual partner. Now, guys who have like the player mentality and who are more voracious with their sexuality, this comes a little bit easier because they're going to have kind of a natural abundance. But even then, I know guys who are players and still fall for the wrong girl, so this is a lesson for everyone. Now, you might be thinking, well, why don't I just stop seeing her? That is one option. That is one option that can that uses these skills or these set of habits that I'm going to teach you, but in the extreme. You just stop it before it starts. You kill the disease before it spreads. It's kind of a harsh way to describe her, but these women can really fuck up your life. If you've ever had a really toxic relationship, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It infects the entirety of your life. It takes up time, your emotions, you can't focus on other things, and then if things are going really bad, it actually not only takes away time, but when you're doing other things, you do them with such less effort, you lose your passion, and in extreme cases, people become very depressed and start considering very dark thoughts. So, now, if she is to that extreme making you feel that way, of course, you know, you should completely cut her off. I'm talking about the girls who know, you know what, yeah, I really like her, she makes me feel really good, she's funny, she's sexy, she sucks my dick really good, and I want to keep spending time with her, but I really shouldn't fall in love with her. But you still want to keep seeing her. We're playing with fire. I fully recognize that, and you should fully recognize that, but I'm going to give you these tips to help yourself not fall in love. So in order to understand how to prevent yourself from falling in love, you need to understand the causal principles that make someone fall in love. We, for a variety of reasons, maybe think or have seen that people see love as a thing that just happens. And you can't control who you fall in love with. And I don't think you can control who you're initially attracted to, but you can stop it from growing. So one of the causes of attachment that eventually does lead into the extreme passion that you would call falling in love is to limit your time with them. If you are addicted to anything, if you spend less time doing it, yes, you may be thinking of it when you're not doing it, and it may seem like, oh, we're just, trying to distract ourselves, so that makes us like it even more, because that's the initial problem, is she isn't good for you or doesn't quite meet your standards. Maybe she's not a bad person, she's just not the best, but you haven't slept with anyone else in a while and you're kind of maybe a little bit desperate, you don't have any other options, and you're settling. If you spend less time doing it, yes, there may be the factor of, okay, now it's even more of a forbidden fruit and it has even more of an allure, but the causes of attachment is very much so how much time you spend around something. And if you control that, it's going to help edge you away. If you're addicted to porn, masturbation, food, or sex, playing video games, spending time with toxic friends, whatever it is, if you limit your exposure to it, it will start to help. It may take time, and to learn how to not fall in love with the wrong women or not be attracted to the wrong kind of friends or wrong habits in life, it's gonna take a long time. This is a skill, like I said, and a skill takes time to learn. So spend less time around her. It may be difficult, but limit it. And it's gonna have a huge effect on how much she's going to take up your heart and your mind. Now, secondly, and this may seem kind of cruel, but it's honest. We shouldn't allow ourselves to give in to bad because we're afraid that we're somehow being bad. So what I'm gonna suggest is that you focus on her flaws. This is not, we're trying to see the evil in everyone, or don't take it too far, right? I really want you to understand this is actually a good thing. It's a very good and healthy thing to see the flaws in anything, any behavior, any person, and to admit that they have flaws. Because what happens is, I've seen this with girls, because I've been on the end of it, where girls kind of saw me as a forbidden fruit. And they would even tell me, they're like, it's dangerous to be around you because I really like being around you, but I know maybe you don't want a relationship. And I get more attached to you the more I'm around you. And so they would force themselves not to spend time with me. But then they would, and then they get re-hooked and re-addicted. And they would recognize the flaws that I had, but because they were spending so much time with me, it didn't work. But even when they did spend time with me, they saw my flaws, but maybe let's not use myself as an example because, we don't want to get too narcissistic here. Someone in general, some guy that she's hooked on. She spends time with him and she knows, oh, he's bad, it's this and that it's not good for me, but he has all these other great qualities. And you felt that way about girls, and I felt that way about women, where I knew that they had some traits that were really not good. They're liars, or they're manipulators. They play games, and I would recognize this and admit it, but I wouldn't allow it to be the majority of my focus. So when you recognize a flaw in someone, you have to do more than just say, well, they have this and this, but oh my God, that ass. Or oh my God, I just love sleeping with them. Or they're so funny and cool to be around. You have to make the flaw your focus. It has to be, no, they are actually not that good of a person, or she's just not quite up to my standards, and I'm, I need something better, but maybe right now I'm kind of in a drought. I haven't seen anyone else. It's wintertime. I can't meet any new people, whatever it is. Understand the reasons why you're focusing on their good parts and make their flaws the top of your list. And if you ever think about them, because you're going to be thinking about them because they're tempting, you need to remember the flaws and focus on the flaws and focus on the flaws and focus on the flaws. And eventually that person, if you're diligent with it, this is a type of meditation, you're hacking your brain, you're going to start to see them in a more negative light. So when I started getting good at this, girls in my past that maybe you could say I was never fully over them, I still had remnants of feelings about them. Like I would think about them and I'd go, oh man, I wish I kind of like things would have worked out a little bit differently. I would have spent a little more time with them, or, I could have slept with her one more time, but then I was like, you know what? It wasn't good to spend time with her. When I started to practice this a lot, I got better at it. And the more I practice it, the better I got at it. And the less time I spent with them, the better I got at it. So you're spending less time, you're allowing their influence not to have control over you. You're focusing on their flaws so that you're seeing the bad or the mediocre when you want the great in abundance. And speaking of abundance, that's the last tip to not fall in love. I think that a man can never truly get over a woman until he finds a woman who is just as good or better. He will never truly get over that ex that cheated on him or dumped him, or the girl that got away that they never actually started even sleeping together, or they did, but they didn't start dating. He will never get over her until he finds something that is even better than it. And I found this out personally when I still felt some stuff about ex-girlfriends or ex-lovers. And then I found a new girlfriend or a new lover who is just as beautiful or more just as sexy or more sexy, but also had the personality factor that I liked, or the virtue factor that I liked. Like she was actually a better person. So I found a girl who was just as beautiful, just as sexy, I enjoyed her just as much in bed. I enjoyed her just as much spending time with her and talking to her. But then on top of that, she was good for me. Or she was of the quality that I wanted, or a specific disposition that I wanted in a girlfriend that suited me based on my long-term goals. Once I found that, it was like, I got to a new level, and every level before it just fell. And I didn't feel a compulsion towards those women. So this works retroactively, and it works in the present, where you're currently struggling with kind of falling in love with a girl, really liking a girl, and you're catching feelings, and you're going in that direction. So spend less time, focus on their flaws, and then you have to find abundance. You have to be able to find another girl who is just as good or better. And that's gonna require you to start approaching more women. And this is all gonna play in. You're gonna spend less time thinking about her because you're thinking about this girl. Maybe things don't work out with this one, but because you spent that time, those hours or those minutes or those days thinking about them, that's less time you spend thinking about this girl. And because you focused on her flaws and you focused on the positives of these new girls, they started to override the feelings of love for the girl or girls that you shouldn't be falling in love with. And if you practice this again and again over the days and the weeks and the months and the years, as a skill does, you will get better at it. And so you will find yourself, and then in the future, once you have the skill, you're gonna learn how to kind of break yourself from catching feelings before the car really starts getting started. And being able to control that inertia is a fantastic skill. Then eventually what ends up happening is when in the future you meet a girl who's really sexy or really beautiful, maybe 5 years ago that was like the hottest girl you'd ever been with, or the most beautiful one you'd ever even talked to, and who liked you. But now it's kind of just normal. It's kind of just some of the same. It's like if you get a really nice car and you just love this car, but then something happens to it. Well, in the future you make a bunch of money, you could buy 2 of them. It's not as special anymore. Maybe it has some things that were really unique, and at the time it was a novelty, but you could get 2 or 3 of them now, or get something even cooler. So get abundance. That'll do most of the job. I think that's like the ultimate strategy, right? But it's kind of difficult to say because you're so depressed, or you're so lost on her, or you're so obsessed with this girl now that it's hard to break away from her. Do these 2 small steps of focusing on flaws and spending less time and diverting time elsewhere, and focus on abundance. And once you get that abundance, you will free yourself from falling in love with women that you shouldn't fall in love with. And you'll learn how to pump the brakes in the future when you do start to catch feelings for the girl that you shouldn't. So that's how you don't fall in love. Cool. Hi, Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell. If you're looking to get that abundance and actually learn how to meet those girls, check out my course called Meet Girls Everywhere in the description below. Check it out, and it's going to help you learn how to actually develop the skill of approaching, and develop the skill of meeting these women, and develop the skill of getting them to the point where they are ready to be that next person in your life that this other girl would have been, but now she's a better girl and a cooler girl and a hotter girl and a more beautiful girl. And because it's a skill, as I said, we're teaching you skills here. it's something that you can do again and again and again. So all of these tips are feeding into each other, but you still need to learn that skill of approaching. Otherwise, you're just going to not be in love with that girl, but then not have anything else to go towards. And obviously that's the point of this channel, is teaching you how to meet girls. So check out Meet Girls Everywhere. And then also, once you get them on a date, you have to seduce them, right? So we have a course called One Date that teaches you how to do that as well. So you meet the girls and then you actually date them. And check those both out in the description below and you'll have the full package. Okay, cool. See you very soon. Ciao.